You've been told your whole mothering life that raising independent children is the goal. That if you do your job right, they won't need you anymore. That successful mothers smile through goodbyes and celebrate their children's departures. But what if I told you that these cultural messages are setting you up for shame about the most natural response in the world? I'm running from Third Act Society. When I was sobbing in a coffee shop while writing a letter to my 15-year-old daughter before she left for college, an elderly woman approached me. She said something that changed everything. That's not sadness, honey. That's pride so big it can't fit in your body anymore. Today, I want to talk about the cultural programming that tells mothers we're not supposed to struggle when our children achieve independence, and why that programming is not only wrong, but harmful to our healing. If you're tired of pretending this transition is easy when it's actually devastating, hit the subscribe button because we're about to challenge every assumption you've been handed about what good mothers are supposed to feel, whatever that means. Here's the impossible standard we've been handed. You spent 18 years becoming so essential to another human being that your nervous system literally reorganizes around their needs. Then act surprised when their independence make you feel like you're losing a limb. We're told that good mothers raise children who don't need them. But nobody mentions when that same biological and emotional wiring that made us phenomenal mothers, the hypervigilance, the constant awareness, the ability to sense their needs before they voice them, doesn't just turn off because they pack for college. There is no switch, period. The cultural message is clear. If you struggle with their living, you've somehow failed. You're too dependent on being needed. You haven't built a life of your own. You're clingy, helicopterish, emotionally unhealthy. But here's what I learned. The depth of your grief isn't evidence of your failure as a mother. It's evidence of your success at loving. Comment below if you've ever felt guilty for struggling with your child's independence. Let's start calling out this harmful cultural programming together. The cultural programming, different cultures handle this transition completely differently. And understanding this helped me realize why I felt so confused about how I was supposed to feel. In Nigerian culture where I was born, children don't just leave home, they expand it. When my cousin got married, she didn't move away from family. She brought her husband back into our extended family network. When she had children, my aunt didn't become less important. She became a grandmother with even more essential roles. The village grows bigger and stronger. Mothers in my heritage culture don't become irrelevant with age. They become matriarchs. The older you get, the more wisdom is valued, not less. There's no empty nest syndrome because the nest is designed to grow, not empty. But my American culture celebrates something entirely different. Complete independence as the ultimate success. Children who call their parents daily are too dependent. Family who live near each other are enmeshed. Mothers who struggle with their children's departures are unhealthy. I found myself caught between two worldviews. My heritage saying family stays family, my adopted culture saying good mothers become unnecessary, both creating guilt. Was I too clingy or not supportive enough? And here's what made it worse. There was no cultural roadmap for integrating this perspective. I was supposed to figure out how to honor my Nigerian roots while celebrating American independence without anyone acknowledging that these values directly contradict each other. This cultural programming created devastating silence around maternal grief. Women whisper about their struggles instead of speaking them openly. We minimize our pain because we've been told it's evidence of dysfunction rather than evidence of deep love. I remember calling my Sarah 3 weeks after drop-off, crying because I made my daughter's favorite dinner out of habit, then stood in my kitchen staring at enough food for 2 people. I feel pathetic, I told her. I should be celebrating our independence. Sarah, who's been through this 2 years earlier, said something that stopped me cold. The reason you feel pathetic isn't because your feelings are wrong. It's because no one prepared you for how normal this is. This feeling is normal. She was right. Every mother I talked to privately admitted to the same struggles. The phantom cooking, the automatic worry, the checking their phones hoping for text. But publicly, we all perform the proud, liberated mother role because that's what good mothers are supposed to do. The shame wasn't coming from our feelings. The shame was coming from cultural messages that pathologized the most natural response in the world. Grieving a relationship transition that fundamentally changes your daily existence. If you've been hiding your struggles because you were taught you were the only one, share this video. Sometimes the most revolutionary thing we can do is admit that the emperor has no clothes, that this transition is hard for everyone, regardless of how ready we think we should be. Here's what nobody tells you. Attachment isn't just emotional, it's biological. For 18 years, longer if you have multiple children, your nervous system has been co-regulating with your child's. Your brain chemistry has literally changed to accommodate the constant low-level awareness of their needs, their safety, their emotional state. Your body produces oxytocin when you nurture them. Your cortisol spikes when they're in distress, even when they're not physically present. Your sleep patterns, eating patterns, and attention patterns have all organized around their rhythm. And then one day, everyone expects you to just turn it off like that, like there's a switch, as if 2 decades of biological programming can be overridden by good intentions and cultural expectations. The tearfulness, the anxiety, the sense of something missing. These aren't character flaws. They're natural responses to a fundamental disruption in your biological emotional reality. Your body is trying to figure out how to function without the organizing principles that has governed it for nearly 2 decades. But instead of acknowledging this biological reality, our culture treats these responses as psychological problems to fix rather than natural adjustments to honor. So here's what I'm telling you. You're allowed to cry when they leave. You're allowed to feel lost even while you're feeling proud. You're allowed to struggle with their independence even while celebrating their strength. You are allowed to miss this version of yourself that existed when someone needed you that completely. You are allowed to grieve the end of intensive mothering even while looking forward to what comes next. The coffee shop breakdown wasn't my failure, it was my breakthrough. The moment I stopped trying to feel what I was supposed to feel and start honoring what I actually felt, the tears weren't weakness, they were love in liquid form, overflowing because the container of my body couldn't hold the magnitude of what I was experiencing. Thank you to that elderly woman who gave voice to what I was feeling, wherever you are. The elderly woman who comforted me that day understood something our culture has forgotten. When you love someone enough to let them go, the letting go breaks your heart and it heals it simultaneously. The tears are necessary, not shameful. And here's what happened when I finally gave myself permission to feel everything. The grief didn't consume me, it transformed me. It taught me about the depth of my own capacity to love, and eventually it taught me how to redirect that love toward myself. Real strength isn't pretending this transition is easy. Real strength is acknowledging that loving someone this deeply changes you, and that change includes grief for what you're losing, even as you celebrate what they're gaining. Your tears don't make you weak, they make you human. Your struggles, that doesn't make you a bad mother. It makes you a mother who loves so completely that independence feels like a small death, even when you know it's exactly what they need. And your willingness to feel these emotions fully, without shame, without rushing to fix them, that is modeling emotional intelligence for your child. You're showing them that love is complex, that transitions are hard, and that strength includes the capacity to feel deeply. Tag a mother who needs to hear this message. Sometimes the most powerful gift we can give each other is permission to feel what we're feeling without apologizing for it. The next time someone tells you that you should be happy about your child's independence, remember, you can be happy for them and sad for yourself at the same time. Both feelings can be true simultaneously. You can celebrate their readiness while grieving your own adjustment. You can feel proud of their confidence while missing the intimacy of daily caregiving. You can be excited about their future while nurturing the end of this particular chapter in your relationship. The goal isn't choosing sides between these emotions. The goal is learning to hold them all with grace. Cultural programming runs deep, but it doesn't have to define your experience. You get to decide how you feel about this transition, regardless of what anyone else thinks you should feel. If you're facing September drop-off, you need more than just permission to feel. You need practical tools for navigating this cultural pressure while you're grieving. I've created Preparing for the Beautiful Goodbye, a complete survival guide that includes specific cultural permission statements, scripts for handling harmful comments, and language for what you're actually experiencing during this transition. Because sometimes we need explicit permission to feel what we're already feeling. Plus, the tools to protect that emotional space from people who don't understand. What cultural message about motherhood has made you feel ashamed of your natural emotions? Share it below. Let's start calling out these harmful expectations together. And remember to subscribe for more content that validates your reality instead of dismissing it.